Good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another episode of the Truly Julie Experience, a show that covers topics in fashion, entertainment, and lifestyle. I'm your host, Julian Lee, and again, thank you for joining us for another episode. Today's very special guest is a gentleman who has one foot planted in technical pursuits and the other grounded in creative and entertainment endeavors, specifically reggae and dancehall music. I think he's an appropriate guest for, to start off February, which is Reggae Month. So we're going to hear a bit about, how he's involved in reggae music and all of that a little bit later. So his name is Tarik Kiddoe. But before we get into conversation with him, I just have a few house rules. Now, if you have any comments or questions, you can put them in the chat of whatever platform you're watching, whether that's Flex FM Radio, which is on Facebook, or www.flexfm.online. That's our website. So we have chat boxes in either of those platforms. Put your comments and questions there. And if I don't get to it immediately, I will get to it, after the show. Also, I'm going to ask that you like and share the episode because you never know who will be able to get some valuable information from the show. Information and entertainment. Now, to get to our special guest for the day, Tarik is an aviator, motorcyclist, and creative professional who describes himself as a serial entrepreneur. A graduate of the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship, Tarik is a founder of the Back to Basics Motorcycle Safety Mission. In addition, under the business name Zawdie Biz Ventures, Tarik continues on creative and entrepreneurial expertise as well. The aim of all his entrepreneurial pursuits is to keep churning out solutions that leverage his expertise as an aviator and creative professional and to trigger meaningful improvements in people's lives. Now, people, I will tell you that with everything this guest is involved in, I think I actually need 2 hours to get through that, but we're going to see what we can get through in 1 hour, all right? So without further ado, Tarik, welcome to the Truly Julie Experience. How are you?
Well, I'm doing well now. Wagwan, Julie.
How you doing, sir?
Wagwan, Julie's fans. Big up on yourself.
Welcome to the Truly Julie Experience. Good to have you, man.
Thanks for having me.
Boy, as I said, I know with your history and everything and your bio and everything that you've done, I think I need a 2 or 3 hour segment, but I only have an hour, so we'll see what we can get through, all right? So,
we'll chat you out for the floor, don't worry.
So tell us a little bit about yourself, what got you into this serial entrepreneurship, is it family, is it just inquisitive mind, is it, how tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got your start.
All right, as a serial entrepreneur, how I got started, basically, I did a few holiday jobs as a teen. 13, 14, 15 years old, holiday work, summer, Christmas. And what I would find when I started doing the summer job is that every single time, let's say you get a 2 or 3 week summer job. After the first week or 2, I would make more money hustling on the side.
Okay.
Than I could possibly make for the entire summer working a regular 9 to 5. So that was my teenage life overall. That was my experience. So by the time I came to 18 years old, 19 years old, and ready to go into university, I was already making a lot of money on the side. Even from the university I was going, when I went to UTech, I was already getting checks from UTech as an entrepreneur, but going there as a student. So basically, that gave me a little stroke of luck, in terms of, basically before me even start look 9 to 5 work, I already earn a little living. So before, you get me?
So how did all of that come about? How did all of that come about? Did you see family doing it, or were you just around people that were like that, entrepreneurs, business owners, or you just say, you know what, I can't do this 9 to 5, this I have to do something else?
When my father was straight 9 to 5, I can tell you that, and I'm fairly well accomplished in terms of Jamaican society and all of that. He spent a lot of time at the office, and I got to see just how big corporations are run from a very young age. Right. And one of the things that I learned from maybe 7, 8, 9 years old, okay, so you have all this business, everybody comes there and everybody's working there, build the business. That was the question I always asked. Who built the Quest business? Who created this? Who created this lifestyle? And literally from 10, 11 years old, I was saying to myself, okay, what if I could actually create something like this rather than wanting a job? There's no point in my life looking on all the various family experiences. There's no point where I was looking and said, okay, like for example, I always wanted to be a pilot, but I never ever saw myself in a pilot uniform, because you're going to have to work for somebody to do that. You're going to have to work for an airline. You're going to have, from the earliest age, my thinking was, okay, there are businesses, there are hospitals, there are things. How could I own one? How could I create an entire ecosystem that generates income literally from, I can't tell you at what point in my life I was thinking differently, honestly. This is just what, you know, my other siblings, they would go 9 to 5 and all that. I was like, nah, man.
Oh, you have to be the different one, right?
Yeah, well, Mark, you too, you know, bear in mind, I do work. So like, as 13 years old, I started working for an uncle who did stage designs for Miss Jamaica, Leslie Kiddoe, you know, rest in peace. He passed away around 15 years ago. I was earning maybe 300 Jamaican dollars a week.
Back in those days, that was quite a bit.
No. I mean, literally, I have people who are, I'm paid like a handyman work. So literally, I'm getting the same pay as who paints. There's no privilege, no. You're learning to paint, hammer nails, mash up your fingers sometimes, and all of that.
Okay.
It wasn't 300.
Okay.
Sorry, it was 200 or 250, right, for the week, for the entire week. So I started observing just how he ran his little projects and everything there, and as I said, that taught me how to convert creativity into money. Just observing that, because I was always drawing from maybe 2, 3 years old, 4 years old. I was always drawing and doing kind of creative stuff. So seeing that, having that experience with the uncle now, opened up that mindset for the design work to say start using that to create business.
Okay, so you're going from, you know, from you're young, you start with this entrepreneurial spirit. You know, 18, you go college, you do the regular college stuff. So tell us, when did the Branson Center of Entrepreneurship come in?
Branson Center is fairly recent right now as well. Now it's 2022. Branson Center experience was 2015.
What exactly is that? What exactly is that?
Okay. Branson Center is what you would want to call an entrepreneurial accelerator program. It's backed by the billionaire Richard Branson. That's Virgin Airlines, big billionaire. He has one set up in Jamaica and one in South Africa, I believe, and another one in the Eastern Caribbean. And what those centers do is help to guide entrepreneurs at various ages, right, to basically improve their impact on their community, improve the viability of their businesses to change gear. Now, I actually had been in one of the first accelerators just like that in 2002, 2003, right? And I did a whole decade stretch, very successful with the business that came from that. But leading into the whole Branson experience, I just felt like I wanted to change how I did creativity. I think around 2010, I decided that I didn't just want to have a business that did, let's say, for example, graphic design or animation that basically sold raw material, creative product. And I decided I wanted to actually create the businesses that, right, that you know, for example, somebody will hire you to do a whole set of ads and all kind of something, right? And you end up getting a very tiny slice. I wanted to actually create businesses that were leveraging content so that you get more of the long-term value of the intellectual property. And that was the direction that I was trying to push. And it wasn't working at first. I started around 2010. It wasn't really working out. Yes, you're still making money, but you're not breaking through the way you wanted. Right. And I joined the Branson Center to try and get one of those businesses going. It wasn't even the back to basics, the BTV thing that became successful.
Okay, so that was gonna be my next question. When you went into the Branson Center, was it with the project that we're going to be talking about now, or was it something totally different and then it morphed into
different
what
business.
it is? Okay.
Yeah, man, I was going to go into adventure tourism, and I just love to something that mixed aviation and all that stuff, right? And they assign you a mentor, you're trying to raise capital and all of that. And what happened is in between two mentorship sessions. The mentor was from Germany. I was into financing and helping young entrepreneurs get financing. And in between two mentorship sessions, what happened is somebody gave me a call to do some motorcycle safety training workshops. I'd previously been involved with just like 1 or 2 hour safety presentations. And so somebody basically referred me to the training for a company, for a entity called National Irrigation Commission, which is a government agency that employs maybe 40, 50 motorcyclists. And I went and I did that session. And my attitude was like, you know, just have to pay me a stipend and all that. The person who hired me looked at me and said, no, like at the end of the workshop, she was like, look, I know you do something else and everything. You just delivered a full professional, extremely effective workshop that transformed all of my employees. I want to pay you a proper check. Now, when I went to my Branson mentor, just telling her what had happened with that, it's like, Tarik, stick a pin. Yes, you're trying to start this other business, but this thing that you're just telling me about and the energy and the fire and passion that you have for it, you really need you need to focus this. Don't even feel bad. Because I mean, think about it. You're trying to raise millions of dollars for a completely different kind of business, you know. Why you want to focus on back? That was my attitude, you know. It's like I felt shifting towards this little thing.
So that was
like, no.
So that was gonna be a question of mine. Your interest in the back to basics and in the motorcycle safety program, is that coming from do you ride, or was it just because you saw it was a business?
I've been riding motorcycles on and off from about 12, 13 years old, on and off. Wasn't really taking it serious. So right through university, occasionally show on a bike at university. I have cousins ride, family members who ride locally and overseas. And right in that transition, 2009, 2010, I started taking bikes really seriously. And 2010, I tried to own one. I had not owned one all along, but me know bike man, powered bike man, go riding and all this stuff. This 2010, I took it really serious. And the safety part of it now, what happened really, my father did hate bike. And I love my father. I was very close to my father. So he hated bike. So yes, I love it, but I never want to buy one because it wasn't like ending for my father. And I was one of those who father wasn't part-time. Like he said, Tarik, don't touch bike, none at all. But I just constantly felt this pull. So I came to it, but I came to it this attitude like, I want to disappoint my father. I don't want to have to bury me. I don't want to have to bury me. And that was a very important thing. So I took it seriously, using knowledge I'd gained through aviation, and I applied that, and I shared it out with my friends, and I found that it was very effective as an approach among my friends and our peer group. And then somewhere in that, you get to realize that the fatality rate outside our friend group, which was around 20 motorcycles, right? We just didn't have the same level of crashes. We didn't have nothing. Like you could see how it had an impact even on the 17 or 18-year-old who came to ride with the fact that we conducted ourselves a certain way, we carried a certain way. So that approach overall led to me doing safety presentations, and those safety presentations became me actually doing motorcycle safety workshops that have been extremely effective. You know, so that's been the transition.
Okay, so you've turned your interest, your personal interest, into a business, these workshops. Who do you approach for implementation for these workshops, and how has the response been towards the program?
Okay, initially, quite surprisingly, the first people we approached were government people. Saying, boy, look, because I didn't necessarily like their approach to how the motorcycle safety thing was going. Fatalities were going up dramatically, and we approached them, said, look, we want to do something in a classroom, and they were like, huh? You're gonna get them a bike man in Jamaica, them little discipline man, and them are gonna sit down in a classroom for an entire day. Which planet you born on? That was the attitude.
Okay.
That was the attitude. So I decided that, boy, look, since they don't really get it, because bear in mind that motorcyclists themselves who worked for government, who came from the same inner cities, were saying, do it, it will work.
Okay.
So I decided I was gonna do it no matter what. We're gonna find the funding, but have a little YouTube channel coming. I never even know, say at the time, so it was actually paying me. So I had a whole heap of YouTube money, just like a pilot. And I said, I'm gonna try something. I reached out to the same friend group. I said, make push about, and I go help me with this. And same, so I decided to start doing an outreach workshop. Now, at the same time, I reached out to Sandals Resorts International. They were in the peak of winter season. They said, you know what, Tarik, we'll help you soon, but not yet. I also drew on my old corporate background, Insurance Association of Jamaica. The person leading it was somebody who I'd known through business for 10, 20 years. I said, you know what, I'm going to try something this Sunday coming in. Can you show up? I said, what do you mean? I said, no, can you just come and see it and see if you think it makes sense?
Right.
And so I went and we executed. I literally walked through communities around Ligani, found motorcyclists, all right, convinced them that there was free food, convinced them that it would work at worth a few hours at a time.
Free food always brings them, right?
Free food works. Free food works, man. It works. And so we had this event, and it just happened that Insurance Association of Jamaica did send a representative to just observe to see if it could possibly make sense. Mark, I was going into that week thing with a previous relationship with the Insurance Association of Jamaica from another capacity. Them say, you know what, we know Eric as a kind of credible person. Let me see if he can pull this one off. And same so. That was the very first event, you know?
Okay. But you say the response from actual motorcyclists were initially positive, right? So did you have to turn?
Yes,
did you have to turn the opinions of corporate or who you approach to fall in line and say, okay, this program will work?
All right. In terms of corporate, Sandals Resorts International, we didn't have to do any convincing. They had tried different kinds of things in Negril with bike taxis and stuff like that in Negril, Jamaica. They didn't need much convincing, but at the same time, we had to be able to align with them. So that was a lesson of timing.
Okay.
But just about all other corporate support, I found it naturally fit into two categories. The kind of people who look and could see it and were already convinced that something like this made a lot of sense, like in their heart they knew it, and they're the kind of people who were skeptical. When we started executing in Westmoreland and just doing outreach right off the bat, Red Stripe, Celebration Brands, which is a distribution company for Red Stripe. Everybody know Red Stripe here, right?
Right.
They contacted us. So we didn't have to hunt them down. They saw us in the media and them said, look, if this thing look as effective as it is, let us try it, because they have 65 motorcyclists who are the backbone of Red Stripe right across Jamaica, driving around 160 million US worth of sales. 65 bike man, quote unquote, driving that level of sales. And they reached out to us and they invited us to do safety training for their workshops. Now, the truth be told, if I'm to say, to a large extent, a lot of the government officials in Jamaica took the attitude of the skeptical, quite frankly. While the corporate entities, especially those that actually had riders on staff and had them in a high value way, critical as a part of how the companies earn, they were like, yo, make a try. So that's been the world for us. So there are some corporate people that you can't convince. There are some who are convinced before you walk into the door. We'll work with them, stay close to them.
Okay. So my next question now is, I know you started this endeavor and this has been implemented in Jamaica. Now, somewhere along the line after implementation, you picked up and you went Cayman and you're actually there now. How easy is it the whole implementation when you're in another country, and is it implemented in Cayman as yet?
Well, let me start with the last question. Is it implemented in Cayman? When I initially came here and I did my assessments, I found that, first of all, Cayman is basically a first world country. And that basically taught me that a lot of the issues that I was able to identify and solve, they are developing country issues. Cayman is a very small population. Statistically, they have more motorcycle injuries and fatalities than Jamaica. But when you really add it up, that amounts to only 3 or 4 riders per year crashing, because their population is so small. So there hasn't been much opportunity for me to bring business, the BTB as a business, to Cayman. I mostly come to Cayman for personal reasons. Food is one of the good things in life, but there's also love and romance as other things that influence people. So basically, coming to Cayman was more a personal thing, not married with child, family, and all of those things. Right. But at the same time, I made a decision based off of the value that I saw BTB bringing to Jamaica. I made a decision I'm not going to let it go. So my lifestyle was always remote business back and forth. You go back when you have lots of projects to do. And cut a long story short, I think it actually helped me as a business person because I was always hands-on and directly involved in everything before. When I started moving in between Jamaica and Cayman, which is 2016, 2017 coming forward, it forced me to delegate a lot more, forced me to rely on trust processes, trust systems, right? And that continues to be a very important transition for me as a businessman.
Right. Okay. So in the last, exactly when did B2B get implemented, and when did Back to Basics get implemented?
Okay, we first started doing just presentations, started around 2013, 2014. Outreach workshops, the first time we did an outreach workshop was 2016, right? And we started doing corporate in the same year as well, right? 2016 to 2017, we were most formally established. Like you could look on the annual stats for Jamaica and see that there was a notable dip. Anytime we were in the field, people were like, yo, I don't know what kind of food or magic we have working, but it had an effect on riders and on the riding communities.
Right. So that's why I asked the question when it was implemented, because has there been a marked difference in the fatalities or even accidents? And then the next question after that is, what do you think is still needed in order to progress the program even more?
All right. Numbers have all the truth and all the answers to what you said a while ago. Numbers. I'm glad you asked that question. In terms of outreach, all right, let me start with leave with the good. Corporate. Red Stripe Celebration Brands, they used to have 16 to 20 crashes per year with their riders. In 2020, that went down to only around 2.
Okay.
Right? I think it's 1 or 2. 2 incidents, only 1 caused a rider to have to miss a day of work, which is the measure. So if I have an incident causes you to miss a day of work, that's when they call it a LTI by corporate standards, right? So there was only 1 in 2020. 2021, there were none. Okay. There were none. So corporate impact has been profound, and this is with 4 million kilometers written. It's not small numbers.
Sorry to cut you, but does B2B only, is it geared only towards corporate, or can private riders, like people who just want to learn motorcycle safety, can they come to you? Do you offer programs, workshops to them also?
Well, what we do, if it is that you want to learn to ride, we actually have one of our team members who focuses on that specifically. So if you want to learn as bride as an individual, BTP focus on large group activities and the tools that you need to do cultural transformation. So we have corporate, which large group for corporate. But we also, what we realize as a matter of conscience is that most of the riders in Jamaica could not possibly afford our services if it's to take cash out of the pocket. It's not cheap. And so that's largely why we developed the outreach training model, which is free, which is basically a freemium model, just like Google. You have corporate sponsors, etc., and you go into the field, and it's actually free or close to free for the riders. That's what we started doing in 2016. So it's Sandals funding it, it's Insurance Association of Jamaica, right? It's other people who have a vested interest in making sure that it works. So by that model, we were able to go into the field. Now, in terms of impact, what is interesting is that 2016 and 2017 were extremely effective in terms of that, seeing that number impact in terms of the national numbers. But we also began to get a lot of pushback from government. So while we see this massive reduction in the corporate clientele, after 2017, we actually had to suspend this free service, the free training that was for the people who were from a certain demographic, the poorer riders, easily accessible to the public, everyone, regardless of what's in your wallet. And we had to suspend that. And since we suspend that, the numbers have gone up dramatically. It's now about 300% increase. It's ridiculously high. So we've had this situation where there are a lot of political and bureaucratic issues that don't necessarily want a private entity like BTB being so highly successful in things that are free to the public. That's what I kind of saw. The politics of that. And at the same time, we have statistics, in corporate that says that it's actually extremely effective. When we came in, we heard of 80 to 90% being the world standard for motorcycle safety training. People might have heard of MSF. So when we hit 93.7% reduction, which is better than world standard, we realize that we have an excellent homegrown product that actually delivers results far beyond expectations. But we say, the usual thing with Jamaica, in politics touch everything, them just want to sit. So we just have to wait until the political system wake up,
Okay, because my next question was going to be, what is the biggest one or two things that you would like to see happen to the B2B program, as far as implementation, as far, in the next, say, before the next 6 to 12 months?
Wow, the next 6 to 12 months, that's a big question. Where we're at right now is that a lot of what we've learned isn't just applicable for Jamaica. It is applicable for any developing country. So I really want us to begin to take some of what we've learned. It's like Burger King testing a nice burger in one little market and finding that it's effective. We want to find ways to carry it to whether it's other small islands. We've reached out to counterparts in Africa, throughout the African continent, right? And we want to see where we can add value. Where we have 35, 40, 50 motorcyclists in a company. They have 700, 1,000 in one company, even 1,500, 2,000 in one company. So if we have 93% success testing in Jamaica, we'd love to see right across the developing world some of the same things that we've learned, which are profoundly different from first world issues, quite frankly, right? Where I'd want to see them enough countries. That's where we want to go right now. We want to become a multinational in terms of the value. For me, a key thing I've mentioned in the start of this is that B2B is a social enterprise. So what matters first is the social impact, and then you earn profits after that, not the other way around. So I'm not gonna make it. There's no decision, no decision that we would take that's gonna put money over
the safety,
social impact, short term, medium, long term. So I want to see that in the same way we've become that for Jamaica and become recognized and representing that for Jamaica when it comes to masters of motorcycle safety. I want to see that same kind of approach, right? Statistically, fact-based approaches applied right across the Caribbean, right across the developing world.
Okay. So if people want to get in touch with you in order to, implement a program like this, how do they get in touch with you?
Easiest place, website, btbmission.org.
I'm sorry, say that again?
Also on the Facebook page.
Say that again?
www.btbmission.org. We have our Instagram page as well, which is at BTB Mission. We have Facebook as well at BTB Mission. Easiest place.
Okay. So thank you for talking about B2B Mission. We're going to come back after this commercial break because we have to pay some bills. And then we're going to go into your creative side of Tarik Zawdie Kiddoe. All right. And talk about another one of the successful brands that he's built. So see you in a couple minutes.
CAR Caribbean Auto Resource, located at 5270B North State Road 7 in the city of North Lauderdale. We have a program built for tax time. Our program includes $500 minimum down payment, cash or trade-in. Qualifies after 30 days on the job. $1,600 minimum income. Units up to 13-year-old. Mileage up to 150,000. Yes, everyone's approved. That's Caribbean Auto Resource. Once again located at 5270 North State Road 7 in the city of North Lauderdale. You can contact us by phone at 954-399-3787 or 954-557-9907. Don't forget about our referral program. Refer a friend and earn from $50 up to $200. Yes, it's true. I ask these questions a lot of times, so if you have been wondering, yes, we finance people who don't have a driver's license. Beacon score does not matter. One of my dealer closed a deal on the 383 Beacon. Good credit, bad credit, any credit, you're approved. Don't ask me how they do it. Just know that it's done. It's Caribbean Auto Resource. Call them today and you'll be driving in minutes. It's time to stop dreaming and start driving.
Out of my dreams, get into my car.
It's that time of year. It's tax time. Do you know where to get your taxes done? Don't worry. Blair's Management Tax and Accounting Services is the place for you. This is Nigel Blair. With over 26 years of experience in the tax and accounting field, we have what it takes to prepare your taxes the right way and to make sure you take advantages of all your tax deduction and all your tax credits and get you back the maximum amount of refunds possible. So don't delay. Call us today at 954-934-5700. That's 954-934-5700.
Again, everybody, welcome back to another segment of the Truly Julie Experience. Before we get started, again, I'm going to ask that you like and share the episode. You never know who will be able to get information, entertainment from the episodes that we do. Here again with Tarik Kiddoe, founder of Zawdie Business Ventures. In the previous segment, we discussed his start in entrepreneurship and his Back to Basics mission program, which aims to reduce motorcycle accidents and deaths. Now, in this segment, we're going to be delving into his creative endeavors, which are rooted in reggae and dancehall. And we're going to do this by discussing one of the other brands that he created and operates called Reggae Rocket. Now, since February is recognized in Jamaica and other parts of the world as Reggae Month, this segment, I feel, just falls right in with that. So, Tarik, how and when did Reggae Rocket get formed, and what exactly was that business about?
Okay, so last question first. Reggae Rocket was about distributing music videos and promotional content right through the reggae dancehall genre, right around the world. At peak, it was around over 80 countries. I mean, it's been a while. I started it. The concept came to be around 2002, 2003, which is a really long time ago, right? Yeah. And how it came to me was basically I was editing music videos as a very, very well-known in terms of doing party ads, the Daydream, ATI, all of these big events that people know and basically run party scene now. I was very close to a lot of the promoters, as close to the entertainment scene in general, and editing a lot of music videos. I don't remember if people remember like Anger Management, Medley. There's a whole heap of stuff happening and dealing with a lot of artists at various levels, both established and new. And it occurred to me that people would spend a ton of money on music videos, and then as soon as the music video is done and there's a tape, there's a cassette, and everybody comes and says, but hold on, how do I get it to the stations? And it was a problem that faced every single new artist, and most even established artists like your Cecile, and I mean, Cecile was probably what I Octane. They were fairly established artists at the time who still had difficulty doing it. So I began the process to build a network, both electronic and physical, right? That was powerful as far as getting it all around the world, getting videos. So artists could bring me a video and bring a copy of the video, fill out some paperwork, giving me legal rights, distribute it according to certain, the legal details, etc. And I would get it out to more stations in a space of a week or two than any one artist could easily do. So I did that, started small, maybe just 21 stations, and by the time you check it, in terms of, I think the total was 125 stations in 80 countries at peak.
You
And
started
this was
small.
before
You started
YouTube.
small at 21 stations. Okay. All right. Sorry,
Yeah,
continue.
no, 21 stations is small, man.
Okay.
21 stations is 75% in Jamaica alone.
Okay. All right. All right.
75% of that. So 18 of them is Jamaica had station almost in every parish. I think of St. Thomas alone, and that's only because I didn't get the link to St. Thomas. Every other parish had, so yeah, and some parishes had 3 stations.
Okay. So, who are some of the artists that you did distribution for, or their videos, or you? It sounded like you were not just distribution, but you were actually involved in the hands-on process of making some of these videos, also.
Yes, I was editing lots of music videos. It was, oh, sorry, that trap on our life,
Oh, your assistant? That's one of your assistants?
Yes. He is distressed. He'd love to come join Daddy in the interview.
Oh, okay. No problem.
Sorry about that. But yeah, the boss has spoken. I hope he doesn't insist that he wants to join. Right? Young boss. But yeah, so you're asking some of the artists I have done, well, distribution first or editing. Which one you want?
The whole shebang.
Anyway. All right, so editing, so rough. I'm going to just read that list now. Artists that I've worked with, that Reggae Rocket I've worked with. Spice, I never edit for Spice. I never edit for Shaggy, but the distributor, Spice, Shaggy, Omi, Bounty Killer, Vibes Cartel, Morgan's Heritage, Beanie Man, Cecile, Gentleman, Alba Rose, Kiprich, Alain, Voicemail, Idonia, Chris Martin. I did for Sly and Robbie, and even Mavada. Mavada's very first video, which was management. I recall just editing that video, and him coming at the studio, stand up beside me, look over my shoulder, and say, "Editor, go and wait him, man." It's just his very from him was just transitioning from being a barber to being an artist. So it's I swear to you, I can't remember every name. It's been such a wild journey through entertainment. That was a particular phase in terms of my creative period. Just coming up with videos. I think Anger Management was #1 music video in Jamaica, all charts for like 8 months straight. Nowadays you play it and it doesn't compare quality wise to anything that's on TV.
Right.
But that was, that's give you a good picture of what. Cecile, gosh, I missed it. Did I say Cecile?
Yes, you did. Yes, you did.
Enough artists, man.
No,
Enough
you mentioned
enough artists.
You mentioned one name or a set a name, one act that you had an association with, and that you did, one name in that list. That you say they helped you and influenced you greatly in your creative journey, right? And that act was Sly and Robbie. How did that association come about? Exactly how did they influence you?
Why? How did they influence me? First of all, big up anybody who friends with Robbie. Robbie coming like an uncle to me. Sly coming like, Robbie passed away recently. I hear tomorrow them having, they're having public.
Yeah, he's viewing,
etc. Real close. I know Sly and Robbie from around 1992, 1993. From I was still in Khaki.
Oh,
yeah,
high school.
What happened? Yes, man, literally. What would happen? What would happen is that my neighbor owned one of the biggest studios in Jamaica, right? Mixing lab. So that when all the international artists came, that's the studio that is either that studio or Tough Gang they would go to. And Sly and Robbie was based there. So I would get to go in, even in my school uniform, I'm at the studio, sitting in the back of the studio. And a lot of people never know who I was. I'm just this young guy, and they just treat me as Frank O'Neill or nephew, the guy who owned the studio. And I'll sit there, and that's how I met Sly and Robbie. That's how I was basically just like a fixture, somebody who's just interested. Marky, I'm not a musician or any of those things, Right? I just like the industry, the music. And that's how I met Sly. And just over the years, the greatest influence with Sly is just observing their creative process. They're musicians. I play music and I create tracks, but I'm not necessarily a musician. Watching the discipline and the process that Sly and Robbie have had over the years, right? Year after year, decade after decade, watch big artists, whether it be Beanie Man, Bounty Killer, whether it be Gwen Stefani. You get what I'm saying? Artists of calibers way beyond Wyclef. Just watching artists go into studio with Sly and Robbie and see the calmness that they deal with everything. See, every Thursday it's the same studio unless they're on tour. Every Wednesday it's the same process. Every I can tell you which day of the week can go bank. And I can say, you know, I've had the opportunity to sit and talk with both Sly and Robbie. As a young person, I had the opportunity, and them saying to me, say, boy, you know, explain to me how they live. I mean, for example, I recall Sly looking at me and said, well, looking at me in this creative business, you must always live as if the last big check you got is the last big check you're going to get.
Okay.
So,
good advice.
And I will never forget that. You understand? Just explaining that as a creative person, your fiscal discipline is number one. So, you might just get enough money to buy one new car, all at once, cash, right? Or new house, whatever it is. But that might be it for a very long time. So always, Sly, when it comes to financial management, Sly explaining to me, it's all about having a pattern of life so that you don't have to stress yourself and worry about how you're going to put food on the table. I mean, it's hard to get to that point, but that is the point you want to get to from an early age. You want to get to the point where you're not constantly feasting every time you get a big check. And no frightened business. I see Sly them collect a check. I don't know if I can call the figure, but he can buy big house. And when I see Sly, no change at all in his lifestyle. Nothing at all. So no. Nothing.
I think that's something that,
focus,
and
you know, and learn from that.
And up to now, I see artists that have not learned that lesson, whether they're veterans or especially the new ones coming up. How do we get them to learn that lesson? You know, the fiscal, the financial lesson.
It's bigger than that, though. All I talk about is lessons from Sly so far, you know. We're not talk about Robbie yet.
All right, so what's the biggest lesson you learned from Robbie?
Listen, I cannot tell you. All right. And I heard an interview the other day that was on a program with an artist, Joshi, and everybody had cussed Joshi. Joshi deal with Joshi deal with badness and all kind of stuff. Right? Let me tell you something. Everybody who know Robbie Road knows that Robbie was a bad man. As a young man, Robbie never ram, Robbie never played. You understand? Robbie made the transition from that life where the only weapon that he would use to slay people, right, to in any shape at all, and he slay millions with him base. Robbie made the transition from a young ghetto youth whose life could have gone a completely different direction and could have been a nuisance to society, to be somebody who was respected on a national and an international level, one of the top 20 bases worldwide and all of that. And so, best believe to have seen Robbie as a young man, hot-head and have little cash in the streets, having Robbie calm me down. You know, when you're hot-head and you might stop by the studio and something that go on, an argument that go on, and Robbie will just look for me with him cigarette, him have a way to smoke him cigarette on the stick and say, Tarik, you need to cool it. You need to cool. You know?
Oh, so he told you how to calm down.
Yo, man, listen, Robbie, and anybody, when you hear Bounty, when you hear Rodney Price Bounty I talk about Robbie, him know the voice of Robbie me I talk about, you know. Robbie is not a man who, it's like how we talky and one bag of, that's not Robbie. Robbie just lead on, and you see the same way he just touch the bass and go, do-doom, do-doom. That is how he talk to you. It's not no long talking. He will come and say one thing to you, and the one thing that it just resonate. So when you feel like you're the baddest thing in the world or whatever else, Robbie come to you and say, yo, Tarik. A simple example. I remember managing Raz and Biggie when there were big diss tracks at the time, and I kind of take in a one summer, I basically blow them up and we're up on the road hard with them. There was a point when we and them cussing and we in an argument. And Robbie sat down here, me cussing on the phone, and hear me and Rory, big up Rory. Today's Rory birthday. Rory Slan Robbie engineer. Today's his birthday. Big him up. And brother too. And Robbie heard me cussing and carrying on, and Robbie said, look here. How long you know them, man? So what do you mean? I know them from them in a khaki too. Yeah, and them coming out, I come out of khaki long since them younger than me. So you and them a friend, you know. You know my family. I say, y'all gonna argue now, an argument and nothing. At the end of the day, you must remember, say, when our friend, find that back.
Okay.
You understand? It's just, you understand why Sly and Robbie, as a partnership, has worked long, because they understand the importance of going back to zero, going back to ground, going back to where you come from. Never forget where you come from on an emotional level. Oh, our next big lesson from Robbie. We did talk about romance as young man. And you know, so every young man in Jamaica say, boy, no man can rule me, no man. You know? Yeah, man. Listen, man, we in a studio and we are talking. I say, no man can't. What you mean, man? Yo, you can't make it. Yo, one bag of everybody hype in that studio, you know. I be looking and say, look, you know, man. You know me, born and grow. I'll tell you something. Right? Not care the baddest a bad man. No much how bad them a road, bad them say them as a road, you know. When them woman get them bored, but living in water, me see it in a man. Listen to me, no man. Any man, the man say, any man who want like say, the woman can mash him up, yeah. I'm not gonna use certain word because it's now 2022, but I don't use the exact word of how you describe it.
Yes, please don't.
Just saying, boy, any man now when a weak for woman is a certain kind of man. You have to understand, say, this idea, say, as a macho man, you're a woman can't broke your heart. A rubbish. Him say, you're not no go, so no care if them a bad man, kick off, go wicked man at the end of the day.
If them get one,
that was a
they
big
feel
lesson for
it.
me as a young man, because him as a man, we look and him basically tell us as big bad rubbish, say, look at man, if you get one, me I got bad too, you know. Simple.
Well, okay, so I have some random questions for you. And we basically went over the first one because my first question was going to be, what do you think is the biggest mistakes that reggae and dancehall artists are making now that not helping them to not progress? And I think what covers that is the finance part, you know, and just you know, the whole heap of warring with people, with other people in the industry, right? So I think that covers that one, right? So the next question I have is, I know by now that you're familiar with the whole Ladies Hall, Marion Hall issue, right? And where some artists are saying that, you know, right, where she said some artists are in a race to hell with the music that they're singing now, especially the female artists, and some of them not back against her, so she started and all of that, whatever. Now, there are two opinions that I've heard so far. I've heard that some people are behind her, backing her, say yes, she's totally right, and then others are saying, boy, she's right, but maybe our delivery in how she talking to these younger female artists could be better. What is your opinion on that?
I mean, all right, that's a controversial issue. First of all, I want to big up Shensia. All the lick aside, the topic of the song, I never liked the topic of the song, and I never liked the content of the video. A lot of the things, more things. As a video person myself, I never liked it. But you know what? Big up Shensia for being one of the most disciplined artists that I've ever come across. That is from 1992 till now. Right? A lot of people see him say, Shensia, complexion, me, I tell you, say, I've only interacted with Shensia maybe an hour in life, in all eternity. But in that hour interacting with her on two separate occasions, I get the impression that this is a girl who stays focused in a way that many managers, many people in the industry would love. And even with this incident with Marion Hall, with Ladies Hall, we see that discipline. Because all who want to get drawn in and drawn out, Shensia say, yo, and I respond to that.
Right.
That is, don't respond to negativity. And if people have to big her up for that because she understands and she stays focused. No, other than that, there's Marion Hall. I've met Marion Hall in many occasions. Never met Ladies Hall. Why I say that is going in the studios, in Sly and Robbie studio, Sharon Burke office, in all kind of contexts. I've crossed paths with Ladies Hall, and the way how she presents herself now as in decide, is always how she was to me. The way people would see her now, saying I'm Marion Hall, the preacher and Rere, has always been the demeanor that she's carried. No matter other people have had interactions with her for said, why she, such a wicked. I'm not discounting any of that, but I honestly feel like what she's expressed is true to her. It's even more true than the lady saw that people saw on stage. And I can appreciate why a lot of people might not accept it and might look on it and say, she's a hypocrite. Honestly, I feel like Lady Star was a hypocrite. I feel like to go on the stage and sing a lot of the things that she was singing and be the person who I would have sit, right, and talk to, and to do some of the things she used to do in a dance hall, all of that was hypocrisy. That was not the Lady Star. That was not the Marion Hall Star who I ever interacted on any occasion.
So you
can't judge her because
that's the first time I'm kind of hearing something like that, because everybody is saying no, that Marion Hall is the hypocrite, but you're actually saying based on how you met her. So it's all about perspective, that you're saying Lady Star is a hypocrite to who you know.
Yes, man, I hide and talk. Okay. Lady Star was a hypocrite. Man, I tell no lie. That is like a young lady come into the industry and she just decide that this is what she have to do to make it, and she just have to do it, right? But to me, I always felt like she was fully aware at every point that what she's doing is not her. It don't matter what anybody else want to judge, Everybody else can have their own opinion, But she knew in herself that this was not right with her. And that's how I take it. A lot of what she said. No disrespect. That's just perspective that I've seen. Now, Mark, I've heard lots of stories. I've heard people say, yo, including Robbie, say, boy, saw no play, She no ramp with our business, I hear people within the industry say, yo, she no ramp with our business, When she decides to get vexed and war, she go war fully, and she don't play. All of those things are true. But for me, it's okay for somebody to just reach a point in her life where you say, I'm not about that anymore. Nothing wrong with that. In terms of the fact that she going to get up and judge all them young lady, that is a whole different conversation per se. All of those young ladies are entitled to take it out and take it on. Because they don't have the perspective that I might have had. I might not even want to ever meet Lady Star. Or Marion Hall. Right. That's their right. One thing in our life, I don't rush to judge people like that based off of hearsay. Them present themselves and stay consistent to that. Then fine. I don't care whether she was a prostitute before in life. I don't care, nothing like that. At the end of the day, she decided that she was doing something. She don't want to do it anymore. She want to transition to something else.
That's her right.
Why? When I waste the time I judge. Stay clean, right. Clean after the thing, man.
Okay. Last random question. Who do you think going to win Grammy this year?
Why you're broadside me? We don't want to. So I don't. Tell you the truth, how much time it postponed now?
Well, once for this year. It was supposed to be, I think, in February this month, but it's put off until April.
Mm-hmm. That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't even remember who nominated to me. Frankly, I don't remember. I don't run it down like I don't. If I don't run it down like that, honestly, I don't. It's all about just living it and loving and shaking off the band with them accomplishment. I don't really get myself into politics.
You're not going to answer your question.
If you were to sit down and tell me, right now this minute, right, who is in the running, I'll tell you quick who is going to win.
Okay, today. Let's say Grammy was tonight.
Mm-hmm. Now tell me who in the runnings right now and I'll tell you.
Huh?
No, tell me who is in the runnings for Grammy right now, and I'll give you my pick right now.
Okay, so there's Spice, there's Etana, there's Soja, there's Sean Paul, there's Gramps, and Jesse Royal.
Why? Yo, that's hard, don't you know, man? No, listen, because anything I say now, me I go affect, yo, Gramps, big up yourself. Oh.
Why you don't answer the question? All right. Putting me on the spot.
No. All right. Let me tell you who I want to win it. I want Spice to win.
Why?
because of how hard she's worked. I've seen Spice from Liquor Hairdressing Parlor at Portmore. I mean, she come check me and say, she's one who has expressed a lot in terms of colorism and all of that. I don't agree with a lot of it based on what I've witnessed, but I know it's her reality. And I love and respect how she has dealt with and transitioned from how she was as an artist, 2002, 2010, how she has tackled those beasts, those monsters, how she has defined herself. The one thing that I would have said, Grace Hamilton, may I ask you, please, just slow the costing now, man. That's the only thing. I want you to get the Grammy. I honestly want you to get the Grammy, but I also want you to focus on the bigger thing. Because at the end of the day, yeah, it matters. That's all me I said. Just focus on a bigger picture. Sometimes the argument, people just draw you out and I'm going to take your energy. Just drag on your energy. Right? I want Spice get the Grammy because to me it would be fitting based off of the work that she's put in, which I respect. I respect the fact that she the old-fashioned way, is not. I mean, all right. To compare Shenseea and Spice, Shenseea is almost a perfect artist in terms of her attitude. Spice is not. Spice is, because she's a stubborn person. I'm stubborn too. So I look and say, it takes one to know one. Right. She's very stubborn, and because she's opinionated and all that, it's very difficult for her to manage. No, what that has translated to when it comes to Spice is that she has had to come into her own as an artist, right? And take leadership in her own management and get the direction, carve it how she wanted. You understand? That is a harder road than working with somebody like Shenseea who's just disciplined, show respect for Ramesh's position as our manager, and we just work with the system. If Ramesh calls Shenseea tomorrow and say, yo, you know what, we're going to do the thing with Marianne Hall, we're going to do a gospel with Marianne Hall tomorrow, right? Best believe, even if in her heart she don't want to do it before, right? Shenseea has the discipline to realize if the manager and our team make the calculation, we're going to do it. Okay. We're going to do it. You understand? Spice, on the other hand, is somebody who is going to fight. She wants to do it her way and all of that. I would love her to have as a crowning of that path, which worked for her, which is for, I'd love to see her with the Grammy in her hand. Okay. And take the crap and say, yo, look, this is stubborn people triumph. You understand? So I'll relate to that. I love it. Love the answer. Never expected that rationale, but love the answer. So now we have only a couple more seconds. Now, how people can get in touch with you? So what is Reggae Rocket doing today? Oh, what is Reggae Rocket? Okay, so the brand is there. YouTube has changed the music video world, so few people watch music videos on TV anymore. But I want to use the brand to add something else. I'm going back to my roots with Reggae Rocket. In terms of reggae aviation, I've been a pilot since I was a young person. I want to do, there's no aviation in reggae, meaning there's a lot of the things that I loved as a young person, they're not a part of Jamaican culture at all, and the reggae dancehall culture. So I want to do something Reggae Rocket. I mean, I have a new tagline, Reggae Aviation Adventure, and I want to reposition that brand completely where that's concerned. How people can contact me, the best way to contact me, Twitter, at Zawdie on Twitter is the easiest way, or Facebook as well at Tarik Zawdie Kiddoe. By the way, Zawdie, everybody know me as I don't know who this Tarik Kiddoe fella is. Well, you've been answering to the name, so I think you know who him is. Yeah, well, I'm just saying, just look me up. I'm very open. Easy to access, easiest number to find. If the Prime Minister did want to call me tomorrow and could have called me, no. If he want to call me at the end of the interview, he could call me. I'm very easy to access. Okay. So Tarik or Zawdie, thank you for joining the Truly Julie Experience today. That's all the time that we have for today. So I appreciate you spending an hour of your time and telling us a bit about what's going on with you, B2B, Reggae Rocket, and wish you success in all your current and future endeavors. All right. So, folks. Thanks for having me and wish you all the best too. All right. Thank you. Folks, that's all the time we have for today's show. I want to see you back here next week again at 1 p.m. for another episode of the Truly Julie Experience. Stick and stay with us with Flex FM so you can see the next show that we have coming up, which is the Caribbean Blend with Lisa L. Until next week, have a safe day and enjoy the rest of your weekend. All right. Bye-bye.
CAR, Caribbean Auto Resource, located at